Hey, so I'm going to be reviewing Winter Town by Stephen Emmond, which is another book that I read over winter break, so a while ago. I'm a little hazy on things, but I really wanted to review this book because I hated it. This is like the worst book. It's ugh. So in case you don't know what it's about, it is pretty much the story that is marketed as a romance about this guy named Evan and this girl named Lucy, and they've been best friends for like ever, but then Lucy's parents got divorced, and that meant that she had to go with her mom when her mom moved, and now for winter break she comes back and stays time with her dad, and that's the only time that she sees Evan. So they're like, oh, it's Winter Town, when it's winter we'll be together. We start off with some things that I liked. I like the concept, I guess. Like, the fact that you only see each other for like 2 weeks a year is not that realistic, but it is interesting enough that I was willing to give it a shot when other people were talking about this book, and I was like, oh, that could be interesting. You only see each other for 2 weeks a year, you can change into new people. I was also kind of hoping that we'd get a little more time with the other years that they had spent together. I mean, that's a completely different writing style, but I think it would be really cool if it had been like, 3 years ago, 4 years, and like show how they changed, and then it would be this specific year, they've already changed, and it's gonna be like, interesting stuff. But it's not. They talk about when they were younger, and in the very beginning, the prologue is the year before the night that she's leaving, and then the rest of it is all in the one spot except for the epilogue is a few months later. So I thought that was an interesting concept. It didn't work out, but it was a cool idea. I also really liked Lucy's father because he was just so sad and trying, and like, I liked him. He was the only one that I really appreciated as a person, because he had these issues, but he wasn't wallowing in them. He felt well developed. I liked him. His name is Doug. I like Doug. Doug's great. Is there anything else about this book that I liked? Oh, I guess. One of the subplots going on in the book is that Evan draws comics. Well, he draws things and they make it into comic strips. So in between every chapter is a piece of a comic that he's working on at the end of the book. And I thought that the illustrations added to it and made it kind of fun. I enjoyed reading those parts and trying to piece together what was happening in the comic. So I liked that. And that is all that I liked. There is nothing else about this book that I liked. Where can I start? Okay, right away. Evan is the worst piece of junk, freaking dick of a character in the world. I hate this boy. I hate this boy. You know what he does throughout the entire book? He complains about Lucy. He just complains about Lucy, and there's no reason why. He's just like, Lucy looks different. And then he makes fun of her for it constantly until it finally gets to her enough that she leaves. And then he's like, I guess I should be nicer to Lucy. And then he's not. He stops being as rude to her about how she looks, but he's still thinking it, and he's still really worried about what his family's gonna think, and he's just still being a prick. And there's 2 scenes where she's not wearing makeup, and he's like, she looks so gorgeous without makeup. If only she knew how beautiful she was. And I'm just like, what are you, One Direction? He was just a total dude bro. Alright, he was a total dude bro. He obviously cared more about her appearance than any other part of her, and it got on my nerves a lot. I also just really didn't like anything about his character, even not in relation to her. Because these characters all have issues, okay? Lucy has issues, her father Doug has issues, his best friends, who we'll get into in a minute, have issues. He doesn't. His biggest issue is that his father goes, "Hey champ, you gonna do that essay? You gonna do that essay? You gonna do that essay? I want to hear about your essay, I want to read your essay." That's annoying. That is very annoying. But you know what? That isn't as bad as anything that Lucy is going through. Not saying any spoilers. He's just constantly going on like, "Oh, I'm so pressured, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this." And it's like, shut up! You literally don't know what's going on in anyone else's life because you're a frigging entitled little prick. And it really aggravates me. And then he's like trying to do all these things to impress his family and make his family happy. And you're still supposed to think that he has like this perfect family. But if he can't introduce them to his best friend, or at least who she is now, and if he can't tell them what he really wants to do with his life, and if he can't stand up to them once in a while, then like, they clearly don't have that good of a family. Okay, next, I hate Lucy. That's kinda, yeah. I hate Lucy because Lucy is just not a character at all. She's Evan, but moodier. Which, I mean, I kind of understand that in, like, real life, there are pairs of best friends that are very, very similar. And you're like, oh, this is Jane, and this is Jane's best friend, musical Jane. You know, it's a thing that happens. Usually those aren't the people who, like, stay together for years, so that's already an issue. But the whole deal with Lucy is supposed to be like, she's so moody, she's so cool, she's so sarcastic, she's so fun, she's so different than Evan. But she's not. She's literally just Evan, except for a little bit sadder. And then when she gets into like a mood, she just completely shuts down. And that is a thing that happens, but the way that they do it, it just feels lazy. Because it's like, "Oh, haha, I'm this quirky, fun person." And then he says something wrong, and then she goes, and he's like, "Wow, Lucy." And you're like, that's not actually a character trait. So I didn't like her character, and I also didn't like the way that they dealt with her story, because again, Lucy has issues. And like, half of the story is leading up to talking about what's going on with Lucy, what's going on with Lucy, why did she cut her hair, why did she dye her hair, why did she pierce herself, why is she so moody? They build it up to be like it's gonna be a whole story about what happened to Lucy. And then, as soon as, like, you start understanding what happened to Lucy, it's all put on the back burner, so she can be like, "Oh, this happened to me, but Evan, I can't ever tell Evan, and Evan will never understand." And she just, it's like she doesn't even care about her own story anymore, because she just cares about Evan. No one should care about Evan. Evan sucks. So that's just really irritating, because her story is actually pretty interesting, but you only get to hear about it for like 2 freaking seconds. So like, there's no point. There is no point to any of her story, because it doesn't actually work with the plot, because they don't do anything with it. It's just really irritating. Oh, I'm like very upset, so I'm just, the writing is terrible, the writing is awful, the writing is so bad. Well, what it is not that it's someone who doesn't know how to, it's not that it's someone who is like, "I'm gonna write my first thing ever after reading all these YA books," like some stories are. The book I read after that, which, if you want to know what it is, you can look on my blog. I also have a condensed summary of this on there. But there are books that feel like someone just randomly decided to like regurgitate all the YA fiction that they read. That's not what this is. The problem with the writing in this book is that Stephen Emmond clearly reads/writes fan fiction, because this book is just a fan fiction. The random quoting of books and shows and music, like, that's a trope. The tropes themselves are fan fiction. The flat characters, everything about it is just really, really not good. fan fiction. And it makes it an easy read, so that's pretty cool. But honestly, it just sucks. Like, if I wanted to read fanfic, I would read fanfic by one of my favorite authors. I would read fanfic of characters that I care about. I would pick up a book from the library by someone who I've never heard of, start reading characters that I don't know anything about, and then have to deal with their stupid little fanfic lives. And it was just full of stereotypes, which is also a fanfic thing. There are such stock characters and flat characters that it's like, oh, here are my gay friends. I said I was going to get back to it. His best friends are a gay couple. That's great, man. That's wonderful. But you know what? Not all gay men want to go be costume designers in New York City, live in a basement, and put up pictures of nude men. That's not a thing. That's just a cliche. And it's really insulting that you would take the only actually queer people in the story and just make them into the quirky, fun, gay people. That's not even writing. Anyway, thank you for watching this. If you are interested in seeing any other reviews of things that I read over break, because this is the last one, swear to God, you can totally go to my Tumblr, which is starlifebooks.tumblr.com. Also, totally follow me. That would be grand. I only have like 15 followers. Should also subscribe here. I only have like 20 subscribers, so please. I will be very, very joyous. I'm already living up to what I said. I'm doing it. I'm doing more videos. I'm trying to write more, trying to read more, and I'm feeling good. The song prompt of the day is Take You Away by Angus and Julia Stone. Bye!